Hello. Oh, it's working. Okay. Is that why you're working the thing? That's why you made that noise. Okay. All right. Good luck with that. That's why we heard that terrible noise earlier? Okay. If we if you if you broke it, you're the person to be mad at, and we're not going to let Declan think he did it. Right. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We will start our official regular business meeting at close to 6:30. Earlier if we're done earlier, later if we're done later. But welcome. Thanks for being here for this official budget presentation. The first part of this evening is a little different than our normal open board meetings in that people in the audience are allowed to ask questions, and Ms. Ross and Mr. Rivenberg can respond. The board can ask questions, the board can respond, so it's a little bit different than usual. And then we'll shift into our regular business meeting when we're finished with this. So I will turn it over to the team.
Hi, everyone. Kim Ross, Superintendent. I'm finishing up my first full year here at Duanesburg. So Mr. Rivenberg has been such a great partner that I had said that I'd like to be part of the budget hearing and the presentation. We joke that I am the front of the house, the instructional side, and he's the back of the house, right? He is the buildings and grounds and transportation and the money side. So my part will be wrapping around the front of the house. So I just love taking snapshots of the school year that we collect since September. And if you look up here on the slide, the current budget and the proposed budget supports so many wonderful things here at Duanesburg. And I know a year ago, when at meeting, or a little over a year ago, meeting with the board, that coming, from Schoharie County, living in Schoharie County, Duanesburg is such a special place. And as long as I can remember, as a student growing up in Schoharie County and as an educator in Schoharie County, we always looked at Duanesburg as being a great place to learn and work. So even though we're small, we really stretch our budget dollars. We are highly competitive with our surrounding neighbors, and we outperform them academically. So what does our budget support and what will it support? So we knew this past year, and again, the goal is always to preserve programs and services and opportunities for our students. And I'm pretty proud of the budget that Mr. Rivenberg and I have put together that does that exactly. So 26 athletic teams with 199 individual students. There's many of those 199 that play 2 or 3 seasons, but 199 students out of our secondary level actually participate in athletics. We currently have 23 clubs, and the clubs range from everything from an environmental club to student council to National Honor Society to STEM to robotics, the Dungeons and Dragons, and this year we piloted where we have those students come and present to the board, because it really is just all about the kids. What is best for children? And we know that maybe if athletics aren't their thing, maybe Dungeons and Dragons is, or robotics. And then we have 22 other stipend positions that help support that front of the house. So we have MTSS coordinators, or we have special ed transition coordinators. So things, or within those ECA stipends to promote academic and students' well-being. So just this slide here, right, seeing everything from what our students are involved in, including athletics. Duanesburg produces phenomenal athletes, from Emma White to Jeffrey Mulhern this year after year. Wyatt Rock with wrestling, year after year after year. Our athletic programs are super strong, and they're one of the strongest in the region. And that goes to the quality coaching, and as well as our families being supportive of it. Opportunities that our budget supports. So this is, I know no one wants to read from a slide, but I want this on the slide so that when this is put in the minutes, people realize this is what we will maintain with the upcoming budget. Just AP and university and high school courses, there are 16. There are 15 electives. That's for students 9 through 12. 38 of our students attend career and tech, CTE. And I actually have here because I want to frame what does that mean. Our goal is always to empower and educate our children so that when they leave our brick and mortar, they are ready for employment or enrollment. So 38 students, and that's only for juniors and seniors who can go to CTE. We have 5 students who are, so this is skills-based. They will leave our building ready to take a job. 5 students are in heavy equipment. 3 students are in cosmetology. 3 are in culinary. 3 are in building trades. 6 are in auto trades. 5 are in electrical. 4 are in welding. 1 is in entertainment tech. 2 are in early childhood. 1 is in HVAC. 2 are in auto body. 3 are in health careers. 1 diesel mechanic. 1 in criminal justice, and 1 in global fashions. So there's actually 41 students. I must have miscounted. There's 41 students who attend CTE. It's phenomenal. And CTE does a signing day in their senior year where kids can actually sign up and get a job right out of school making $60,000. It's our job, it's our responsibility. Sending kids to CTE can be expensive. It's around $14,000 a student. But if we create that foundation for them, because college isn't for everybody, and people's journeys are never a straight line. And I know I always need a mechanic. I like to always have a nice meal out. I need to get my hair cut. Or we need welders. So it is a phenomenal opportunity for our kids. Even though we're small, we enroll in the distance learning program. So distance learning is where, Jody, how many classes are in the catalog each year usually? Hundreds? Hundreds. So say if a student, one of our students is really interested in early childhood, maybe they go to CTE, they can take a distance learning class in child psychology. We wouldn't be able to offer it, but they can take those classes. But here's the sweet thing about the distance learning and being a part of that consortium. If a teacher teaches a class and or supervises it, part of their salary becomes aidable, salary and benefits. So it actually generates revenue for us. So right now, and I might have miscounted, but I'm pretty sure I'm close, we have 63 full-time teachers, 1 part-time ENL teacher, 3 school counselors, 20 support staff, so TDAs and aides, 4 full-time related service providers, which we've talked about in the past. Now that we have a full team, we can start doing preschool evaluations and provide services, and then the county will pay us. We have an instructional coach from BOCES who comes 2 times a week. She's been working at the elementary school with zones of regulation. It's kind of PBIS, the positive behavior, this is the next layer where kids self-identify where they're at. And it promotes self-regulation. We have Tricia, who we love and adore, our communications specialist 2 times a week. We have our food service manager 3 times a week. He was out there grilling today. Was it today? He was out there grilling for the kids. And he's going to be pivotal during our capital projects because our cafeterias are going to be under construction. And we do deploy a physical therapist 2 times a week. And we have 2 full-time SROs, though we only pay for 1 because the county has been such a great partner with us. And again, we can see the lovely faces. I do want to mention, I'll wait till the end to talk about it. So I'm going to talk a little bit more at the end about what our budget currently supports and what we're looking forward to the coming school year. So now Mr. Rivenberg gets to do his magic and talk numbers.
Okay, so First off, this is a summary of the 25-26 budget. It's the same slide that you saw during the budget or during the board's adoption. The total budget brings us up to $20,686,000. That's a budget-to-budget increase of 1.243, and then it's a 6.39% increase with a tax levy increase of 3.2%. That gives us a $287,125 for dollar over from the current year to next year. So this is a wraparound of the proposed expenditures in the different categories. So general support, instructional, operations and maintenance, pupil transportation, medical and benefits, and then debt service. So debt service went up quite a bit because of the capital project. So that gets balanced out also with building aid. So you'll see that too in the revenue side of the budget as well. So something I would like to mention is that when we started budget this year, we were able to whittle down a lot of things that we realized maybe we were just too high on some of the budget lines. So the overall budget without considering debt is only about 3.86% from budget to budget. So we were able to whittle down quite a bit. But there is a large part of the budget increase is due to that debt service for capital work. This is an overall look, just a visual of the categories that you saw on the previous slide. Just to highlight that a huge portion of our budget is almost 50% of the budget is the instructional side, and then the next largest portion of the budget is the medical and benefits, and then debt service. So this is a look at the current budget compared to the proposed budget for next year. In the revenue side of the budget, showing the tax levy, the state aid, and then other revenues. So a large portion of our budget is funded either by state aid or property taxes. So when we don't get funded enough on state aid, we have to balance that out with property taxes. And I will add that this year's New York State budget has been an absolute trip. Not having a final budget when we were developing our own made budget very difficult this year. So, our last proposal from the state was that we were getting only 2% foundation aid increase from over prior year. So that leaves a big gap in the budget, and we have to find a way to fill that. So through the use of either savings and fund balance and reserves, and property taxes is where you have to fill that gap for state aid, because we're running a business, we're running a school, you have to be able to pay for the increases for contractual items and for services that you get for kids. So this is a look at the state aid for what we know. So this is what we had budgeted last year compared to what we are budgeting for this year based on our assumptions from the governor's run. And then a look at the tax levy. So the tax cap is not being exceeded. We're not exceeding the tax cap. We're going out with a 3.2% increase for the tax levy. And then this is a general approximate assumption of what it would, what that 3.2% increase would look like. And I put some home values in there on the left-hand side. You can kind of plug away it and see an estimate of what the home value and the estimate would be. And then just to highlight what I had mentioned before is that state aid and property taxes is our largest source of revenue. So when one doesn't fund the budget, the other has to. So we need to find ways to fill that gap. So the state aid, if it lacks, then we have to fill it with the property taxes. So just highlighting that, and then we filled that gap with a little more fund balance this year than we did for next year than we did for the current year. And then we also added back that $100,000 assumption to use for reserves in the retirement system. So if we get to that point and needing that reserves, we'll be using that as well. And this is the three-part budget, looking at the administrative, the program, and the capital portion of the budget. So again, the largest portion of the budget being the program, and then the capital coming in at the close second. So administrative portion includes all of the BOCE's administrative costs, central data processing, salaries and benefits for administrators, supervisors, administrators, clerical staff, school board, tax collection, et cetera, all the business operations. And then program covers all of the educational things that Mr. Ross was talking about a little while ago. So including salary and benefits of all teachers, staff, any pupil services at all, BOCE's programs, special education services, et cetera. And then the capital services, capital is anything building related, custodial staff, maintenance, et cetera. And then utilities, and also bus purchases and buildings. I would like to highlight this slide just to show that our per pupil cost for Duanesburg is actually lower than some of our neighbors. So we are still doing a great job at doing more for less. So this is based on data that I pulled right off of New York State Gov, and I did not highlight the actual school districts, but this is in comparison to a few of our neighbors. We are actually, so I would also like to say that we are expecting a slight increase in enrollment for next year just because there's so many kids wanting to go to UPK. So it's a good thing. We've started to see that enrollment trend start to level out. So just wanted to highlight where we've been over the past few years with our budgets. So we've actually come close or spent some of of that fund balance that we did put into the budget. So in the 23-24 school year, we spent some of that extra fund balance that we had appropriated. So we are budgeting closer and closer to what we feel is going to be the expenditures compared to the revenues. So the 25, I kind of colored that differently because that's kind of the unknown right now until we close out the rest of the budget year. So I would like to highlight that this could be the unknown if we continue to see a smaller increase on our state aid increases. We're still going to have to find ways to fill those gaps in the future, and this is something that we're going to have to continue to work on, and that's why we are balancing our budget also with a tax levy increase, and we can't just go out with a 0% levy increase from year to year. So the next slide here, I'm showing what it would look like if you didn't increase the tax levy for this year and went out with a 0. So it makes that deficit even more severe in future years, and there's no way to really build that back. So I'll go back to the other slide and I'll show what that actually does. So quite a significant decrease there. So that's why we've built the budget that we've built this year. And on the ballots for the vote for the budget will be on May 20th. School bus purchases, we have a maximum of 2 buses at a maximum cost of $230,000. So this is the lowest we've gone out with several years. So we're only buying 2 buses. And then a repair reserve up to a maximum amount of $300,000 for the purpose of repairs of facilities. And I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivenberg. So you're going to see here, the question that's been asked a lot is, what if the budget is defeated? We go for a revote on June 17th. If it's defeated on June 17th, then we go into a contingency budget. And what does a contingency budget mean? It means that we cannot raise taxes, raise the levy. So based on New York State regulations and laws, that means no equipment purchases. Public use of building by outside groups and organizations must be charged a fee to cover all expenses related. Non-instructional employees not in a collective bargaining unit cannot get a raise. No rental of office equipment. Those are the guardrails. But the reality is that we would have to make pretty significant cuts. And what we mean is we would have to cover a loss, and things that we are looking forward to in the future is including staff. We'd like to do, we've talked about this with the board, add a third section of UPK. Here's the hiccup with UPK. New York State has awarded us financial means, doesn't cover the whole cost, for 2 sections. So for 36 students. Right now, we are up to 61 applications for UPK. Oh, 51? Thank you. Sorry, I thought about that for a second. Wait, no, it's not 61, 51. And that doesn't mean the stragglers that are going to come in June, July, and August. And so I've talked about the board coming as wearing my elementary principal hat, a huge supporter of early intervention. When we can have every 4-year-old in this community and put them in our UPK program, the foundation is significant. Ask any kindergarten teacher if they can tell the difference if a child's gone to UPK or not gone to UPK. And it's the foundation for their educational journey. So by having a third section, even though we have to absorb the cost of it, we're not going to trip over $1 to pick up a nickel. And what I mean by that is when districts have to do a lottery and 20 kids or 18 kids are left behind, we end up having to hire more interventionists down the road to fill that gap that they didn't get in pre-K. So we're better off getting a hold of them when they're little and making sure we're giving them the supports that they need, kindergarten ready, but school ready. So we also would have to consider the extracurriculars, including athletics. Athletics is a huge budget line, over $200,000. Field trips, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but all those things would have to be on the table if we ended up with a less budget and or a contingency budget. Just being honest, like what are the steps? Here's our why. These faces. I remember every one of these moments as I was grabbing them. Our why is to empower and educate to get our kids ready for employment or enrollment. And just some things that, this budget supports moving forward. Did you know that we had 34 events for our families this year? 3 of which were community events where we invited the community in. There were 26 field trips that we had this year, from going to Proctor's, to Herkimer Diamond Mines, to doing some soil and water testing. On top of it all, our ECAs, our extracurriculars that raise funds, were required to do give-back days to their community. So if they raised funds, the expectation that was set out was that they had to give back to their community because our community feels taxed all the time. But when they see students in the community giving to their community, I always say it's squeezing the zucchini and the chocolate bread. They're giving back to their community, but the community is seeing them. And it's building that positive relationship. And the school year isn't done, but they have to give back twice. So a few of the things, right now there's 19 that have been completed. Things like cleaning up the Little League field, coupon books for our students with the backpack program, assisted with the pancake breakfast, assisted with the spaghetti dinner, made holiday cards. They actually made cat mats, mats for cats, cat mats, for the animal shelter. They also did a fundraiser for the Ronald McDonald House, and the list goes on and on and on. These are the faces This is why we do what we do. This is why we want to give our students and continue to give our students the opportunities that we in little old Waynesburg can give to them. There's so much joy in the elementary and the secondary building. Yep, there's challenges because kids don't grow unless they make mistakes. But overall, it is such a special community, and I am so proud to serve this community and see the students and see the things that we can do for them. And even though it's a miracle, and I think this is a testament to Mr. Rivenberg, he had that slide. Bigger districts usually spend less money per child, right? Because there are mandates, right? We have to have a bio-certified teacher. We have to have a certified earth science teacher. We have to have certain certifications. Smaller districts usually spend upward from $35,000 to $40,000 per student because we're mandated to have that staff. Larger districts, because there may be a classroom of 30 kids in a room, they spend around $23,000, $24,000 a student. We are so fiscally responsible with the funds that we have that we hover around $23,000, $24,000. And that wasn't Mr. Rivenberg pulling that number. That came out of the Rockefeller study. The Rockefeller study produced back in late fall what districts were spending per student. And in the capital region, we are one of the lowest. And we still provide all those opportunities that we've talked about. So when it comes time for the budget vote, please remember, we make decisions based on kids, our kids, and what our kids deserve, and what opportunities we want to keep going and keep for them moving forward. I just love their faces. That's why I love going to the elementary school. It's my therapy. All right, so we have the public budget hearing. What? That's okay. Meet the candidates is, I don't see it the current, May 15th, and the vote is the 20th, 1 to 9 o'clock at the elementary school. Any questions? This is actually a part where you do the hearing before the regular meeting because it can be open dialogue. You don't have to submit a question. You can ask any questions about the budget or if you need any clarification. It's conversation with us, conversation with the board. Don't be shy. Oh, yes, Chris. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, it's the audio thing. I don't know. Some tech genius figured it out.
My way. Yeah, I've asked this question in the past because I just think it's very good for the community to understand the checks that go into the finances of the school with the auditing and all of that. I just think that it's a good thing for people to know the level of, well, checks and checks and checks that go into developing a school budget and the annual finances as they're expended throughout the year.
Thanks, Chris. You're absolutely right. So there's regulations around internal auditing, external auditing, and then there's the big audit, the once a year, right, where we have to open up our books, and it's a third-party vendor who comes in and spends weeks and weeks and weeks looking at our books. And it's a great checks and balances because there was a few errors made recently that Mr. Rivenberg was able to put a corrective action plan forward. It's all great stuff, right? We're transparent and we're held accountable. Any other questions, thoughts? This is an easy crowd. Does the board have any questions? Go ahead. Oh, you got your mic.
I have a couple.
Sure.
Okay, so the CTE classes, I'm glad you mentioned at the beginning because I keep forgetting to ask. Do we happen to know how many students who graduated from CTE last year that actually went forward in a career in that?
They stayed within what the CTE?
Yes.
I wasn't here for that, so that's probably a Jody question. And probably, how many seniors did you have enrolled last year? You don't know?
It was 37 last year that were enrolled because I think you're capped, right?
No, financially, we try to keep it at the same level, but it's unlimited.
Okay.
districts aren't limited to how many kids they enroll in CTE.
Okay.
And then some kids can move on to do like New Vision. So if they're in the healthcare, it's a really rigorous program. It's hard to get into, but we can definitely find that out, and
Yeah.
because that's a great question.
I keep forgetting to ask, so
Yeah.
since you brought it up, I
Yeah,
figured I'd ask.
perfect question.
My next question is probably more for Jeff. How much money is currently in our savings?
Yeah, so if you look at the reserve fund report that I gave back in, that would have been September or October.
Yep.
We could reference that. I did not come prepared to give you a reserve
Okay,
fund
all right,
report though
all right.
tonight, so. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
So you will also find the tax report card on in the budget packet that will be located on the budget page of the district. So if you look at the budget section, it will actually have that information on that document as well. Or actually at the last meeting, property tax report card that was approved by the board. So that you should, it's right in the minutes from last meeting. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
From last.
Yep, so you will find the reserve fund report there as well.
Mind if I use this? I was wondering, when it came to the more with less page, it looks like that data is that old from 22, 23?
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
the
not
most
our-
released data that comes from state ed, so they're always like a couple years behind when they
Okay.
issue that data.
Because when I ran the numbers by like our budget as a whole divided by our student population, it's a much different number. It's not 23,000, I get 31,000.
So it's based on what state ed, and so state ed actually, the Rockefeller Center put the report that they got from state ed. So
Okay.
state ed does that calculation, and they actually put out a number that's determined for us. So
What
it's
is
not
it
like I
based off?
submit a per pupil amount to them. They actually say, this is what you spend per pupil, so.
But how do they figure, what are they using as the basis for their formula? Because if we don't know that, then how are we supposed to really know from our angle and doing the budget,
So what I'll do is I can hyperlink the Rockefeller to you again, but state ed, so when we say enrollment, those are our human beings walking through the building, okay? Versus charter school or private school, those are not in those numbers. So when we say enrollment, when we have 660 students, that doesn't include students who are Duanesburg students but go to private or charter schools. When a student goes to a charter school, we have to pay for it. So we are billed for charter schools as well as we are billed for health. You know how you approve and resolve those health agreements. So the numbers that the Rockefeller study came out with are the numbers when you take all the different variables, including those students who go to charter or private schools, as part of a cost.
I was going to say private.
Private. In general, yeah. Actually, I heard they're going to do a charter school in Schenectady.
Outside placement
Outside placements, yes.
for
Yep.
special ed or whatever.
So this is a very confusing number and formula, basically? That's what I'm getting?
It is very confusing, but I welcome, Sarah, if you read through the Rockefeller study and they explain the formula in it, and if you can figure it out, I'd love for you to tell me in fourth grade words. Because all I know is we go by what's produced by state ed and then the Rockefeller study.
Yeah, they've got to be subtracting something out of this to get to that
Right.
number, because that's not the number we're working with.
Oh, another variable would be that I think our last number, this was back in the fall, part of contractual language is that our staff can bring their children here, and that's part of the enrollment. We don't get aid on those children. So it's probably part of that formula as well. But it is a great question, and I'm always baffled about the very long calculation that they do to get to what the price is per pupil. But I'll share that Rockefeller with you, so you can see comparatively around here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think I have the correct report up. Which one is the one? Right. Okay. This is the last meeting.
All right. There isn't any other questions? Melissa? No, we're good? That's it? All right. That's great. Thank you. And I'll get that link to you so you can unpack it. All right, that's it.
Okay, great. We are not too far past our normal start time, so that's great. So, anybody need a break before we just dive in? We're okay? Okay. All right. We'll dive right in. All right. So, I will now call our general meeting to order at 6:39 p.m., beginning with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. Our next item is recognitions, and I was frantically writing things down as you guys were talking that I remembered that I wanted to say. So we have a lot of things that have been going on recently, and a lot of things that are coming up. So I want to just do a few shout outs and note some upcoming events. So last week on the 30th was the annual elementary school art show. If you haven't been to the elementary school art show, I highly recommend that you put it on your calendar for next year because it is awesome. Mrs. Chauvin works tirelessly for weeks putting all the art around the school, and then she has to take it all back down again. So I think she's in the midst of that now, but I heard there were several hundred people there. Is that right, Mrs. Conover? Oh, you were out of town last week. That's right, but like hundreds.
Sounds accurate.
Hundreds
to
of
me.
people. Say again?
That sounds accurate. To
Yeah,
me. There were a
hundreds
ton
of people.
people.
Yeah, which is awesome. So, so good for those young artists, developing artists, and for Mrs. Chauvin for working as hard as she does to showcase all the things that the kids are doing. I want to point out that next week, the same day as the Meet the Candidates night, but earlier in the evening, is our National Honor Society induction ceremony. That's always a really nice ceremony, honoring juniors that are moving up to be seniors that are really excelling academically and as people, right, in the community. So that is upcoming. There are some teachers and staff out there in the audience tonight. This is Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank you, teachers. Thank you, teachers. The PTA has some special things planned for you. You've had a few of them already. A few more are coming your way. I know that our building leaders and superintendent have some things planned too. So we appreciate you every week and every day of every week, but we especially want you to know that we appreciate you. And here at Duanesburg, we actually use the week to appreciate the entire district staff because we really can't function without all of them, right? So everybody's going to get a little recognition sometime this week, just as a thank you from all of us for everything that you do. The last thing I have on my list is that the grand opening of the playground, even though it is being well utilized already, is next Friday afternoon from 3:30 to 6. There will be popsicles and raffles. So it's awesome. I rode the zip line over the weekend. It was super fun. They have an easier time getting on it. The children have an easier time getting on and off than I did, but it was super fun. So next Friday is the grand opening celebration for the new playground. And I think that's everything. I didn't think I had anything, and then I thought of all those things. All right. Okay. Next item is board discussion of tonight's agenda. Comments or questions? Okay. All right. And Serena, there were no agenda changes for tonight, right? Since we posted the agenda? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, with that, resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the agenda for the regular meeting for this evening, May 6th. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second? Thank you, Tony. Again, comments or questions? All in favor?
Yeah?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, our next item is public comment. I had the paper. Okay. I didn't see anyone that signed in to speak during the public comment section, but before I move on from there, is there anyone who had wanted to ask a question or make a comment? Yes, Lucy Spore, please come up.
Last time she talked to us, she ended up dressed like a 5-foot-tall eagle. So this should work out well.
All right. Ooh. Guys, it's on now. All right. Yesterday during lunch, I called the Frito-Lay lady on the back of the chips they sell at lunch, and I asked her why we get those versions because I thought we weren't supposed to have like a certain sodium amount in our chips, and she recommended I talk to my school board and ask why we get the baked Lays instead of the normal Lays. So she recommended I ask you. I know that's not really like your job, but like whoever picks the chips we get, they're really salty.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else have a public comment or question that I can't answer? You have any questions, Guinevere? Okay, excellent. All right. Next item is, where are we? Acceptance of minutes. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approve the minutes of the regular meeting on April 23rd, 2025. May I have a motion? Thank you, Tony. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Alyssa. Comments or questions? Yeah.
I know we'd had some discussion before about how the minutes are different this time. Will we be adjusting them to not have, because
We can, Sarah.
I'm
Yeah.
uncomfortable with
Yep.
the way that the layout is because there's a lot of information missing if we're going about it this new layout.
Yes, and where's our board discuss? Oh, is this what can we use this for board discussion? Yeah. Okay, right. Okay, great. Yes, so I'll just for everyone else's benefit here, Serena, I asked Serena to provide sort of some additional detail, some context to the things that we vote on. And she, in true Serena fashion, went above and beyond what I had anticipated her to do, which was a lot of detail, but not every detail, right? So I think that my thought process behind it, so I'll give you that and then we can answer the question. The thought process behind it is that there have been many times where, not just our board, but school boards in general, there's a perception that we just rubber stamp everything. And if we were to read our minutes as they have traditionally been done, that's what it looks like we do, right? I hope that people are watching the videos, but when I look at how many views there's been on our YouTube channel, it's 3 or 4. So, and I'm guessing one of them's me because I'm reviewing, and Ray, like we're reviewing what we went over. So, so from that perspective, you know, we do have meaningful conversation. We do have meaningful discussion and content before we vote. Sometimes we don't because there's nothing really to say, but oftentimes we do. So that was sort of the thought process behind can we offer the public a little bit more in our documentation of our meetings. We have way more than we need. So for this one, we can certainly, how do we do it? We motion to table until for this particular agenda, minutes. Motion to remove, and then we can put it on the next agenda for approval at our next meeting, because Serena has, right, Serena? You have the document as it has traditionally been done as well. So that's not a heavy lift for Serena to put it as it has typically been done. So that's the answer, but I'm interested in people's thoughts about having some kind of highlight or you know, some bit of context to what we do at each of these meetings.
Yeah, I like that thought. I do agree that it is. I don't know if it's just too far away. Okay. I like the idea of having some of that additional context available for folks that maybe aren't here or are not available to watch YouTube. Or I know sometimes the sound on the YouTube videos does not come through great, even with our mics and such. So I do think that would add value.
I don't know if I'm on. I have no idea. Anyways, I think with the work Serena did is awesome, and I think we should keep iterating because it took too much work. Even if it, you know, it was just too much. It was just too much work. So I think we should look at other tools. I know there's AI summarizers and stuff we can look at to possibly sort of catalog this stuff. Because I think we got to get the context. It's important. You know, it's just too easy to lose it. So.
Francis, I'm going to tell you what I tell my students. Loud and proud, man, I cannot hear you. In the mic. No.
Oh, hello? Okay. Okay, wrong way. Is there a way on our video where we can have the words on there?
YouTube transcribes every video, but it's only what it records.
Okay,
And it cuts in and out because of a variety of issues.
okay.
It's not a perfect system, unfortunately. And actually, that's often the complaints we get is, can't hear you. I know someone's talking, but we can't, the mic isn't loud enough, or they're not talking into their mic, so it can only record what it hears.
Yeah, you'll get those black patches when it doesn't pick it up.
No, go ahead. Somebody else turned on or off, I can't tell. We can continue this discussion. We can carry on, you know, for tonight's meeting as we have been, but perhaps we can come to our next meeting prepared to talk about what some of the options might be, if that's something that folks are interested in providing really to the public, right? The ability to read the minutes, to scan the minutes, and to have the context of what, you know, what we're voting on, what we're doing, and why.
I'm sorry, is that on? I'm confused. What more where's the balance? Because what we were doing before kind of seemed like that high level enough already. And if you wanted to know more, you watched it or, you know, you came to the meeting. Or are we going to do a transcription? You know, like it kind of seems redundant if we do that. I was always thinking minutes were a little bit more high level and documented the important things like the votes. So I guess, yeah, that's my question is where do we want to land with this?
Yeah, I think it's a conversation we can continue to have for sure. My thought was let's see what we can do it is a lot. It was a lot for Serena to write all these things down. So, and I very much appreciate that time that you spent, Serena, in doing that. To Frances's point, we can accept them this time if you'd like. If you're not comfortable with that, we can table them or motion to remove them from this agenda and bring them back the next time. And then we would vote on 2 sets of minutes at that meeting.
I mean, I know for myself, there's a number of things I said in here that are missing, so I would like to
Okay.
have it taken
Okay,
off for right
so
now and be fixed and vote on it after we can see the fixed.
how do I do that? Because we made a motion, so then do we close that motion? Right, but I already opened a motion to accept them, so now do I have to close that motion and we all just vote yes or no about accepting them and then, or is this within the motion, a motion within a motion? Okay. And then we'll do another motion to have them. Right. Do we have to have a motion to have it put it back on, or we don't? Okay, all right, great. All right, so all in favor? All opposed? Aye. Any abstentions? Okay, all right. Thank you, Serena.
Just extra. I think I'm very funny, and I like when the transcript shows that.
Next up, oh goodness. Next up, we have some presentations and reports, starting with the National Honor Society. How great. Who's coming up for that?
So I'm not sure how to get the presentation up there. I don't know where that is. All right.
I could be funny some more. We could get it written down. Add to the minutes.
The spring concert was also on Thursday. I
concert
write
was
that
really
down.
good.
Speaking of telling jokes, because we had some time to kill, there were a lot of jokes on the stage on Thursday evening. But the secondary concert was on Thursday.
Guinevere, would you like to tell your joke again?
You see one of your files right there. So grab that. And then here, we'll just make this large for you. There you go.
All right. Perfect. Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to start out by introducing myself. I'm a senior here. My name is Joey Harris. I'm the vice president of NHS. I also play basketball, soccer, and I'm attending Clarkson University next year, where I'm going to be majoring in mechanical engineering.
My name's Ella Raymond. I'm also a senior. I play basketball and soccer, and I'm attending UAlbany next year for psychology.
So now on to the NHS side of things. Just a little recap of what we do as an organization. As you can see, we're a pretty prestigious group, fairly selective. You have to have a cumulative average of 88%, which is fairly difficult to have for the majority of students, and it's definitely a struggle at times. And then along with this, students have to be evaluated on their service, leadership, and character to be admitted into the National Honor Society. And you also have to have a solid track record along with different student body organizations that you participated in throughout your high school and middle school career. I think the screen is frozen. Oh boy. Yeah, it's not moving. Ah, okay, there it is. Thank you. So the first event that we sponsored this year and participated in was the blood drive. So as you can see, we have a student right there taking her blood during school. A lot of students came down to the gym, took their time and donated their blood, which obviously is a task in its own. But as the NHS, we help set up, take down, check in donors, and work at the canteen station. I worked at the check-in station, and just checking in a lot of people from the community was nice. It was nice to see everyone come out and support. But as you can see here, we have some stats about how much blood we collected, and it was fairly successful. We met our goal as, actually we almost met our goal. Looks like a little bit short, but the effort was there. And there's some pictures of some people giving blood and our volunteers. The next sponsored event that we did was the Adopt a Family for Christmas event. So we worked throughout December and a little bit of November, collecting money and gifts from faculty and students, along with just other people in Dwaynesburg, to help provide a Dwaynesburg family with a happy Christmas. And I think we did that pretty well because we raised $300 and over 50 gifts. So, yeah. The next event that we did was the tie-dyeing pillowcases. This was a fun one. We all got together in the morning, and we teamed up with the Leo Club, and we ended up dyeing 24 pillowcases for the pediatric wing of the Bassett Medical Center. And I think that's mostly children that they went to. So, yeah.
Next, we did the food bank. A majority of us went down and sorted and packed fruits and vegetables for the food bank to distribute to various places across 23 counties, and this supplies over 40% of New York. And there's some pictures of our volunteers. Right now, we are currently collecting supplies listed on the Ronald McDonald wish list to bring comfort, hope, strength, and love to the children and families facing serious health challenges in our community. These items from the wish list help keep their pantries stocked, facilities clean, and most pressing needs met. And we will be collecting these through May 16th. There's in the office and 117, and also room. Isn't there one on the? Okay. Yep. We are also collecting aluminum soda can pull tabs. The Ronald McDonald House recycles them for revenue to provide services for families of seriously ill or injured children. Thousands of dollars are raised each year through this recycling effort. We already have a lot, as you can see, so, but any more are definitely appreciated, so thank you.
Any questions?
Anyone have any questions?
Um,
5:15.
5:15 this year.
Yeah.
I like that you're testing them.
Anyone else have any questions? Well, listen, congratulations to the both of you
Absolutely.
on your upcoming graduation and your next steps in life. And thank you for all the work that you did through NHS. That's great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a great resume builder.
Okay, next, do we have a representative from class of 2027?
How do we get our slideshow? How do we get our slideshow on there?
There you go.
Okay. So can I start?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So I'm Edith Goldschmidt. I'm the vice president. Of the class of 2027. I play basketball, cross country, golf, and I'm coming back from a track meet right now. And this is Josephine.
I'm Josephine DiCarlo. I am the secretary of the class of 2027, and I don't do any school sports. Our 2024 to 2025 fundraisers included Smith Pies, which we made a $439 profit, and Nothing Bundt Cakes. And what does TVA mean?
When we did this, we didn't know our profit yet, but we're looking at like a $200-ish profit. Haven't finalized it yet.
For our Giving Back to the Community project, in December we made holiday cards for the like homebound parishioners for the Lady of Fatima.
Our second give back for the year was in this month we are going to make cat mats for the Animal Protective Foundation.
And our future projects looking forward are going to be like potential partnerships with Leo Club, as we saw in the NHS presentation, for future giving back to the community things, and also potential food drives looking forward. That's what we got.
Yeah, that's all.
Can I ask, because I don't have cats, what a cat mat is, and how do you make it?
It's like, is it when like the little tile? So you take like 2 pieces of fabric and you just cut them up, like you cut like inch strips and on each side, and then you tie it up. So then it's like a little blanket and like a little mat for the cat to lay on in shelters and stuff. So they're not just on the bare cage floor.
That's lovely. Thank you. So like one of those little tie blankets, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, how nice.
So you guys are 10th grade, right?
Mhm.
So that means you're 2 years from being seniors. Have you started thinking about, the big expenses that your class
Yeah.
has coming up? Prom and possibly a trip. What are you thinking along those lines? And how are you going to raise the money to get there?
Well, so I feel like for class officers, there are some constraints on what we can kind of do, because we can't just magically throw fundraisers out there and have people pay for them. And it also depends, like, we have a smaller grade, so it's harder to raise money for big like projects such as like a nice prom or other things. But we'll probably follow in a lot of the footsteps of our like older grades, continuing the fundraisers they're doing, because those have been
Really
successful. Yeah.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Thank you, ladies.
Yep.
Appreciate you
Thank
coming in, and thanks for running from your track meet, literally, Edith. Okay, our last presentation and report is from the class of 2028.
There was an eagle picture.
We'll go sans eagle. It's okay.
Oh.
Wonderful.
Hello and good evening. This is the class of 2028 presentation. I'm Lucy Sporen, and today I'm representing class of 2028. I'm not a officer or anything, but and I participate in numerous activities, and multiple times I've been on this pedestal talking multiple times about the numerous activities I'm in.
I am Guinevere Evans. I am also a representative of the class of 2028. Also not an officer. Many of our officers had sports this evening, so we are representing. I also do many activities. I do the play. I'm in the orchestra every year, and I'm on student council.
Oh no. Okay. So in order to raise money for our senior end of year goals, we have had one fundraiser this year so far, and then we have an upcoming one. So recently we did the Hoffman's Car Wash fundraiser. So it was a virtual sale for gift cards, which was really nice because we got all of the funds from that. It's really easy. You can just use your credit card and buy it. So we earned $479 from that. So that's a really good profit. And then upcoming, we have May 12th. We're doing the Amazing Cookies and Snacks virtual and catalog sale, and our goal is to raise $500, which is pretty reasonable. We got pretty close with the car wash sale, so we're hoping it'll all round out really even.
So far, we have done one give back so far. We are planning another this month. We collected food items for the local Our Lady of Fatima food pantry, canned goods and such. This month, we plan to be decorating placemats to send to the Friendship Cafe during the senior lunch program, like spring colors on paper placemats to brighten up the senior lunch program. Our goals with these fundraisers that we have done, we hope to raise funds to have a nice prom and go perhaps on a senior trip. That's kind of why we're doing the fundraisers in the first place. So thank you. Any questions?
All right, anybody have any questions? Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you coming in tonight and telling us about your class. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is our superintendent's report.
All right, not a lot to update. Just putting it out there to the board as a reminder, but Trisha's going to put something out to the greater community that May 28th is going to be our celebration of 8 teachers that I'm going to be recommending for tenure. Board, you'll have your packet in this week. Are you breaking the joint? He's good? I'll have the packet for you to review with this week's update. We're really excited. There's 5 people at the secondary level, 3 at the elementary. I hand-delivered letters to them today, inviting them to the celebration, inviting their families as well. The principals will be involved in talking about their journey. Normally, after a few years, I am always honored to do that, but the principals have been with them since the beginning, so I'd like them to be able to speak of the folks and then meet their families. I actually had one of the teachers tell me today, she said, "Are you sure you want my toddler to come?" I said, "Why?" She said, "We went to my brother's wedding and he knocked over the sweetheart table." Yes.
I would hope that the school building will be able to handle children.
I think so. I said, I promise there won't be a sweetheart table for him to knock over. So, you know, it would be nice to get to know them and their spouses or partners and their children. So then as well as we can celebrate, the board prior to that celebration at 5:30 is going to do the final round interview with the selected principal candidate. So it'll be an opportunity for the community to meet the new principal and the board to spend time with them prior and celebrate them and joining the Duanesburg family. As for the principal update, we had 20 applicants. The leadership team looked 28. Yeah. 28 applicants. Screened, the leadership team went through, narrowed it down to 10, and then Board President Peterson and I screened those 10 last week, and we're down to 6. 6 candidates will go to the interview teams on May 13th or 14th. I'm in the process, tomorrow night, I'm meeting virtually with the interview teams to kind of go through the do's and don'ts. Here's the non-disclosure agreement. There's 3 teams. 2 teams are going to be traditional interview questions. And then the third team is the candidate has to dispense 30 to 40 minutes professional development with guardrails. So maybe on the science of reading or on the science investigations or something like the zones of regulation with the PBIS, social emotional. So the reason I do that is because sometimes people look great on paper. Sometimes they interview really well, but we need an instructional leader in addition to a manager. And this is an opportunity for a candidate to really shine, and adults learn differently than students. So it's always a unique and interesting panel. And then the panel will have anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to ask questions about their professional development. Go ahead.
Kim, could you just tell everyone who are on those panels, those interview panels?
Right, so we have
none of us are.
No, nope, and nor am I. Serena and I will be running around, making sure that we're troubleshooting if people need anything or water. We'll serve a little bit of a dinner each night because we're keeping them from 5 to 8-ish. There'll be dinner break. Will be the candidate will stay in the room with the panelists that they're in front of. So one team is just teachers. The second team is some related support staff and parents. We have 2 students. And then the third team, the professional development team, is staff as well, or community members who signed up who work in education, right? We want to make sure that we don't want a community member who, say, works not in education be confused. So very blessed. We have 3 groups of 12. Is that what we have, Serena? We did 3 groups of 12, so we have 36 panelists. A lot of interest, and it pretty even across the board. And then each team will be, like Mr. Rivenberg will lead a team, Ms. Schneiber will lead a team, and Jody will, to kind of keep it flowing so that they don't get bogged down. There will be canned questions because we want to make sure we're consistent with each candidate. We ask the same questions that are wrapped around the PSEL standards that New York State adopted. So every question is tethered to a standard for leadership and education. So we're pretty excited. And then debriefing will happen on May 15th. So panelists who can make it right after school will kind of go through. I'm a big believer in sleeping on it. And then the selected candidate will be notified on Friday. And we'll develop, and that gives them, the following week is budget vote. It's so busy. It's the week after, right? And it gives them time to develop an entry plan to present to the Board of Education. Any questions? On May 28th at 5:30.
That it? That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Oh, any other questions? Okay. And Jeff did his presentation at the beginning, so you don't have another one, right? All right.
Unless you
like
want
to
it
give
again.
another one?
You want to give another one?
Do you want to do it over again?
Do you have slides prepared?
All right.
Just something in your pocket?
We'll move to our financial items. Recommendation that the Board of Education, resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approves financial items 7.01 through 7.03. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lissa. Comments or questions on any of these items? Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next item, instructional personnel. Approved school psychologist appointment of is it Havlick? Am I saying it correctly? Be it resolved, based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the appointment of Mary Havlick as school psychologist within the school psychology tenure track probationary period of 3 years effective September 1, 2025 to August 31, 2028 at step 16 at a salary of $67,711. May I have a motion? Thank you, Tony. A second? Thank you, Avis. Comments or questions? Just happy to fill the position, have a full team.
We had a lot of great candidates, and we were pleasantly surprised. Again, another good problem to have. But Mary is a phenomenal educator. She kind of stepped out of the school psych world for a little bit because of COVID. But by having her full time, she can help with those evaluations, those preschool evaluations, again, generating revenue for the district.
There was something else I was going to say, but now I've lost it. Yeah, no, I know, but I was going to say
Sarah has a
something else
question.
about it. But
When you say generating revenue for the district by the school psychologist doing these evaluations, what kind of revenue are we talking about?
So in the preschool world, when a parent puts in for either EI or CPSE,
early intervention.
Early intervention, yes, don't speak in acronyms. And the preschool childhood, the CSE for preschool, it all filters through the county. And I don't know why, because if there are kiddos, there are kiddos, but it is what it is. So the parent puts in a request for an evaluation, and then it goes for CPSE. It goes to the, we submit it to the county, and then we have to go out and find, the parent can have a say in it. We have to find an evaluator. We have to find somebody to do the psycho-ed eval, the speech eval, sometimes OT, sometimes PT. And there are none to be found. And what happens is if you are, and then the county pays the bill for the evaluations. So I had mentioned before that once we had a full team, we had a full-time school psych, full-time speech pathologist, and a full-time OT, that the county will now do a contract with us that if any preschooler who needs an evaluation or therapy, that they will pay us directly and not an outside evaluator. Because there's outside evaluators throughout the county. So like Whispering Pines would be one. And they're backlogged by months and months and months. And by law, you're supposed to have the evaluations done within 60 days. They're probably 4 to 6 months backlogged. So this would allow us to do the evaluations within the regs.
How much are we
There's a
talking
fee
about?
rate online. It's an hourly, it's a per hour rate based on sets of service. It's online.
Okay, so, I mean, like, when we're talking revenue, it sounds great, but are we talking like $100 a month, or are we talking, like $20,000 a month? Like, is this a real number?
Yeah, so
like
it really depends on the volume. So right now we have a current bubble of kids coming up through with a lot of needs, and especially in the pre-KK world. But I can I know I can get for you it's usually a per evaluation rate. Mm-hmm. So Danielle had to go home. She had an emergency at home, but when she's back in tomorrow, I'll ask that and I'll email it to you, what the per evaluation rate is. And it ebbs and flows, right? Ebbs and flows on how many kids. And then it's a different rate, what Francis is saying, per hour for therapy.
Right.
So like, is it group, is it individual? It usually runs anywhere from $50 to $60 per session if they are dispensing related services just at the preschool level.
Which usually occur multiple times a week.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember what I was going to say, and that is just that her 10-year probationary period is 3 years because she was previously tenured, correct?
She was tenured at Cooperstown.
Okay. Any other questions?
And I just wanted to say that the school psychologist is always also going to be used for like situations in the classroom, right? Like behavioral.
Well, so sometimes. So the priority is, because by law, an IEP, if they have counseling by the psychologist, that has to come first. Or if she has evaluations, because like I said, it's a 60-day window. If she has an evaluation, that has to come first. But she is part of that social emotional team. We do have Miss Kamer now, the school counselor who interventionist at the elementary school. She's there full time. So she's usually the first point person to go intervene if a teacher needs support. But Mr. Preston is up here most of the time now because his caseload is bigger up here.
Okay.
But they all function together, right? If it's all hands on deck when a child may be in crisis.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Great question.
Any other questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Our next item, approve deputy tax collector appointment of Serena Killenberger. Be it resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approve the appointment of Serena Killenberger as deputy tax collector at no additional compensation effective May 7th, 2025. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ray. Comments or questions?
Are you
Thank
ready
you.
for this?
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next item, CSE and CPSE minutes. Be it resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approve the CSE and CPSE minutes from the meetings on April 1, 2, 4, 11, 22, 28, 30, and 30, 2025 as attached. May I have a motion?
A motion?
Thank you, Avis. A second? Thank you, Tony. Comments or questions? Busy times. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We have a handful of other things. I don't think they're relatively self-explanatory, so I am going to do a consent motion, but certainly ask questions or make comments on any of the individual items. So be it resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approves the items 11.01 through 11.05. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Alyssa. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sarah. Comments or questions on any of those items?
I would just like to, as a big supporter of policy of mine, I'd like to thank Mr. Huth for his donation.
Oh, yes.
That's very kind of him.
Agree.
You know, and the last one, I don't know what we're really voting on. I think it's an informational item. It probably shouldn't be in there. But as a reminder.
Oh, no, we're adding it to the calendar, so it has to be on there.
But it's not a resolution
Oh,
in the
okay.
wording. But,
You just have to give notice. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a resolution.
Okay.
so,
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Next, we will be going into executive session for purposes of personnel. The board does not intend to return to open meeting, so we will say thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for participating in the hearing and budget presentation, and come out and vote in a couple of weeks. May I have a motion to enter into executive session at 7:25, please?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Ray. A second? Thank you, Avis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you again, everyone.